Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivadadari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivadadari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivadadari Gopi Chana Yashodanandana Brajachanarandana Yashodanandana Brajachanarandana Yashodanandana Brajachanarandana Danandana Brajachanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Jai Vishnu Padma Sapuri Jaya Jaya Satya Desi Bhakti Ananta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Bhakti Vishnu Dev Ki Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Grantra Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhakta Vrinda Madhyam 24, 206 24, 2, 6 Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Chaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we are in a reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and this is still the chapter of the explanation of the Atmaram verse, right? Since months we hear the explanation of one shloka. It's interesting. And in the section that we are right now, this is the section where we hear about various meanings of the word Atma. Right? Like in Sanskrit, one word can have many different meanings. And although Atma usually refers to the self, to the soul, it can also mean the body, the mind, many different. And according to the interpretation, then there can be different meanings can be drawn from the original text. So in this section, basically text 205 to 209, I try to usually see a little bit the context, so that's text 205 to text 209, describes one specific meaning of the word Atma. And if we go back to text 205, which we read last week, or let's go even back furthermore, text 200. Because text 200 actually describes the word Atma in that context. Jivar svabhava Krishna dhasa abhimana deha atma jnana achatita se jnana. The original nature of every living entity is to consider himself the eternal servant of Krishna. But under the influence of Maya, he thinks himself to be the body, and thus his original consciousness is covered. That's text 200.
24.
Yes. Audio 24, text 200. So, Jivara Svabhav, Krishna dhas abhiman. Again, this word abhiman. Abhiman here considers himself as Krishna das. That's the Svabhav, the original nature. Svabhav means the characteristic nature of something. So the characteristic nature of the soul is to be a servant of Krishna. And so that's the basis of the description here on Atma. But then in last week, this was 205. We heard, I think Bhakti Labhi Prabhu spoke on this text. This was Krishna Kripadi Hetu Haita Sabara Udhaya Krishna Guna Krishna Hana Tanhari Bhajaya. Everyone is eligible to receive Krishna's mercy, including Vyasadeva, the four Kumaras, Shukadeva Goswami, low-born creatures, trees, plants and beasts. By Krishna's mercy they are elevated and engaged in his service. And then probably the purport speaks about everyone is eligible to become Krishna's devotee. One simply has to be trained according to the approved process. It is the work of Krishna's confidential devotees to turn everyone into a Krishna Bhakta. That's the work of a devotee. He turns everyone into a Krishna Bhakta. So we spoke about this last week. How the devotees, they preach and they share the message and they try to help others too. And it's not so much about converting people. Nowadays, if we speak about missionary work or mission preaching, people usually feel agitated. Why there is a need for preaching? Why do you try to convert people? But this mission is more about elevating people's consciousness, so that they actually can understand their original nature, which is naturally to be a servant of Krishna, or a servant of God, if they don't like the word Krishna. But that's the goal. And in today's shloka, I will read text 206 to 209, and these verses describe, especially text 9 will describe, again the same point, that different living entities, they all are eligible to receive Krishna's mercy. And it's interesting how we find some description also from Krishna, Balaram and Vrindavan in regards to how they show mercy to all living entities. So text 206. Let me see, this is maybe... Tanyeyam atya dharani trit virudastat tvat padas prishodur lata karajambi marishta nat yodraya kak mrika satyava la lokair gopyat natre na pujayor apiyas priya shri. Okay, text 206. This land of Vrindavan, Rajbhumi, is glorified today because your lotus feet have touched her earth and grass, your fingernails have touched her trees and creepers, and your merciful eyes have glanced upon her rivers, hills, birds and beasts. The gopis have been embraced by your arms, and even the goddess of fortune desires this. Now, all of these are glorified. Purport: this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.15.8 was spoken by Lord Krishna to Sri Balaram. So Balaram is glorified. And what is the context here? Why we all of a sudden hear Krishna Lila? Because it shows how Balaram shows compassion to all living beings. I think that's the idea. And we hear there is more. There is no more purport, so I'll just read 207 also. Translation. My dear friend, Krishna and Balaram are passing through the forest leading their cows with their cowherd boyfriends. They both carry ropes with which, at the time of milking, they bind the rear legs of the cows. When they play on their flutes, and all moving living entities are stunned, and non-moving living entities experience ecstatic jubilation by their sweet music. All these things are certainly very wonderful. The short purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.21.19. As Krishna wandered in the forest with Balaram, and the two of them wonderfully played their flutes, all the gopis became very much attracted. Thus they praised the Lord's activities, describing how he was enthusing all the plants, birds, hills, water, everything. So all the living entities, they became very much stunned and amazed and joyful upon seeing Krishna Balaram, upon hearing their wonderful play of their flutes. Then text 208. Vanalatastarava atmani vishnum yanjayantya iva pushpa baladaya pranata para vitapa madhudrita prema hristatanavu vavrishusma. The plants, creepers and trees were full of fruits and flowers due to ecstatic love of Krishna. Indeed, being so full, they were bowing down. They were inspired by such deep love for Krishna that they were constantly pouring showers of honey. In this way the gopis saw all the forest of Vrindavan. So this describes how even the creepers and the trees, they also had love for Krishna, and they also were engaged in some kind of service to Krishna. Prabhupada's purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.35.9. For an explanation, see Madhya Lila 8.276. You like to hear the purport? Okay, I have it here. This verse is one of the songs of the gopis sung during Krishna's absence. In Krishna's absence, the gopis were always absorbed in thought of him. Similarly, the Mahabhagavat, the advanced devotee, sees everything as potential serving the Lord. So that's the vision of a Mahabhagavad. He always sees everything connected. Srila Rupa Goswami states, Prapanchi Kataya Bhudya Hari Sambandhi Vastuna Mumukshu Bhi Parityajgo Vairagya Phalgukataye. The advanced devotee does not see anything as unconnected with Krishna. Unlike the Mayavadi philosophers, a devotee does not see the material world as false because he knows that everything in the material world is connected to Krishna. A devotee knows that how to utilize everything in the service of the Lord, and this is characteristic of the Mahabhagavat. The gopis saw the plants, creepers and forest trees loaded with fruits and flowers and ready to serve Krishna. In this way, they immediately remembered their worshipful Lord Shri Krishna. They did not simply see plants, creepers and trees the way mundane sees them. So when the gopis see the trees and the plants, they don't see just trees and plants, but they see other devotees who want to serve Krishna and who have love for Krishna. That's how they see it. So what have these 4 shlokas in common? I mean, they're beautiful shlokas from Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, but they have in common, and I guess that's why they are quoted here, that all living entities are kind of connected to Krishna. Right? And that's the topic. The topic is Svabhav. The meaning of Atma in this section means Svabhav, that every living entity is a servant of Krishna. So even the trees and plants, creepers, they're also servants of Krishna. And the Mahabhagavad devotees can see that everyone is actually a servant of Krishna. Everyone is connected. And now comes the last text for today. This is 209. Kirata hunandra pulinda pukasha abhira shumbha yavana kashadhaya yamyecha papayat upashraya shraya shudhyanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. Kiratas, Hunas, Andras, Pulindas, Pukashasa, Abhiras, Shubhas, Yavanas, and members of the Kasha race, and even others who are addicted to sinful acts, can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. And there is no purport, but this is a well-known shloka. Kirat Hunandra Pulinda Pukasha. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18. And basically it's a list of different people. Prabhupada says in the purport, the above mentioned historical names are different nations of the world. The Kurata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulaksha, these are all different nations of the world, Prabhupada says. And interesting, in the purport, Prabhupada gives descriptions. He says the Kirata, who are the Kirata? These are the aboriginal tribes of India. That's the Kiratas. And then the Hunas, who are the Hunas? The area of East Germany and part of Russia is known as the province of the Hunas. So Russian and Germans have something in common. There's a German-Russian connection here. We're all coming from the same Hunas. Then Andhra, that's still Andhra Pradesh, is still there. Then Pulinda, the Greeks are known as Pulindas. The Greeks, they are Pulindas. Then Abhira, these are on the other side of the Arabian Sea. Inhabitants of that province were known as Abhiras. Then the Yavanas, who are the Yavanas? The Turkeys, yeah. Turkeys are the Yavanas, according to this description. And then we have the Kasa, who are the Kasha? The Mongolians and the Chinese. So the Chinese are also mentioned here. So but the point is, even those who are constantly engaged in sinful acts are all corrigible to the standard of perfection, human beings, if they take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. So that's the point, and that's also what I would like to talk a little bit today, that all living entities are servants of Krishna, but they are covered in the conditioned stage. And by taking shelter of a Vaishnava, of a devotee, they can all become liberated. They all can become, again, reinstated in their original position, right? And the Prabhupada makes an amazing statement. He says, Prabhupada says, Jesus Christ and Muhammad, the two powerful devotees of the Lord, have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of the globe. Prabhupada says, these two have done good work. Nice preaching, Seva. Jesus Christ and Muhammad have preached to them. They have preached to all these people. And then Prabhupada speaks about if the leadership of the world affairs is entrusted to the devotees of the Lord, then that would be good. And he says, the politicians of the world may remain in their respective position because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership, but they're interested in seeing that people understand the value of life. That's why the devotees, they should guide the leaders. That means the political leaders, they should take guidance from devotees. That's what Prabhupada says. And then Prabhupada says, a Vaishnava is powerful enough to turn into a Vaishnava even the Kirata, as mentioned above. So the only qualification is that one takes shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord who has throughout knowledge in the transcendental science of Krishna. And even if a person has been very sinful, just by taking shelter of a devotee, one can actually become perfect. And that's what we heard in the other shloka from last week, that's the business of the devotees. The devotees, they preach, they want to share Krishna consciousness. Okay, maybe I should chant some. We are just reading the purport of the shlokas. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Kiranjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Vistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vamchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so I'll try to talk a bit about this topic, that pure Vaishnavas, they will always look for the welfare of the Jiva. Atma Kalyana is called. No, we speak about the word Atma. So there is this term Atma Kalyana, which means the welfare for the soul. This is what the Vaishnavas are always engaged. They always try to see the benefit of everyone. So in human form of life, one should try to get the goal of life, which is Krishna Bhakti. So Bhakti is needed, but how does one attain this Bhakti? And if one does not know how to get Bhakti, then one will again lose one's direction. So therefore the sadhus, the devotees of the Lord, the Vaishnavas, they are moving around in this world and they are teaching the jivas how to have a peaceful life, how to understand the purpose of life, and how to serve Krishna. That's why one will be able to know about Bhakti by associating with Bhakta. Only in the association of devotees one actually can understand what Bhakti is. But how can one actually see Bhakta? How can one recognize? Because there can be a pure devotee just sitting right next to you, you don't even recognize it. No? I mean, many people have seen Prabhupada, and some they have not really took benefit. They thought he's a cult leader and he's doing this and that, criticizing Prabhupada. Others could see, like we have many examples. There was a Ratha Yatra somewhere, I don't know, in New York or somewhere. There was like a black police officer, and when Prabhupada came, he was kind of shouting, "The man is shining! The man is shining!" He was an ordinary police officer, but somehow you could see that this person has evolved. He could somehow see this is not an ordinary person. This is a very divine personality. He could see. So, how can we actually see bhakta? How can we understand? It says that sukritai purva sanchitaha. That if we are not able to see a pure devotee, so how will we associate with him? So therefore we have to understand, recognize a devotee. And how do we actually so we need to associate with a devotee because bhakti is in the heart of a bhakta, right? Like bhakti, the devotion to Krishna, is residing in the heart of a bhakta. That's why if we associate with a bhakta who has that love, then we also can develop that same bhakti. So, but if you don't have sukriti to see bhakta or to recognize devotee, then we will not get their association. So, what should we do if we don't have sukriti to have sadhusanga? We have to cry for that association. We should cry before Krishna. Oh Krishna, please send me your man, send or woman, but send me your devotee. Send me your devotee. I need help. I need blessings, because Krishna is sitting right in the heart as Paramatma, and he can arrange. If Krishna sees that we have a strong desire to connect with him, then it says that actually Krishna's mercy manifests in the form of sadhu. That's why Guru is also known as Sri Krishna Kripa Murti. He's a manifestation of Krishna's mercy. So when we sincerely seek for Krishna and have a desire to get to know Krishna, then Krishna actually will help us by manifesting in front of us as a sadhu. But how many are praying to Krishna for sadhu's association? How often are we actually praying to Krishna? Please, Krishna, please give me sadhusanga, please give me association of pure devotees. Understanding that only in that association we actually can make progress. And then, even if sadhu comes, speaks Krishna Katha, but how many are coming and listening? Many, they will say, I have so many other things to do. I'm so busy, I have this and that, I cannot come to the temple. So there is a story, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj always told this story. There were two friends in Navadvip. One was a bhakta and one was a non-devotee, a very materialistic person. The bhakta would always go on the other side of the river, Jalangi, and go to listen to Krishna Katha. And he would always invite his friend, please come, let's go on the other side of the river, let's listen to some sadhus. And the friend always said, no, I don't have time, I'm so busy, I have to do this, that. And one day the devotee thought, okay, I have to trick my friend. I will tell him that on the other side of the river there is an opera, nice musical performance. Please come with me, we go there. And the friend immediately, yes, okay, let's go. This time he had no excuses. Yes, let's go and enjoy some music. So when they entered into the boat, then the friend of the devotee thought, why he wants to bring me to opera? He never goes to opera, he always goes to sadhus. Maybe he wants to trick me. He wants to bring me to a sadhu. No, I'm not going. So he said, no, actually I cannot take both. I always become sick when I'm on the boat. Let us wait for the summertime, when the water has dried up, and then we can walk over the river. Then I will come with you. And then the devotee said, but this is Ganga. Summertime there will not be drought, there will be even more water. So my friend is he will never come and listen to sadhu. He always will have some excuses. So this is the position that if we don't have sukriti, we don't have that piety, we will not be interested to hear. So therefore we need that sukriti. And there is different forms of sukriti. There is karma ummukhi sukriti, there is jnana ummukhi sukriti, and there is bhakti ummukhi sukriti. Sukriti means this. How would you translate Sukriti?
Highest credits.
Highest credits, yeah. You did something and you get something in return. So,
The literal translation is positive deed.
positive Sukrit, yeah.
An uplifting.
An uplifting
Increased karma.
Krit, yeah. Sukrit. So, because of so some they have a lot of money. Why they have a lot of money? Because of karma sukrit. So, some even amongst the devotees, some they have more money, some have less money. This is because they have some karma sukriti. Then jnana mukhi sukriti. Accumulating some knowledge or having, getting some knowledge. But bhakti mukhi sukriti, actually, what is the result of bhakti mukhi sukriti? One is getting association of sadhu. That means in a past life, in some way or other, one was in touch with bhakti and did some, even unknowingly did something good. I don't know, maybe you hold a door for a sadhu, or you just see some baba, nice singing, or some appreciation, and as a result, in this life, actually get, and the benefit of Bhakti Mukhi Sukriti is that you get the association of sadhus. So therefore, we should, and if you don't have that Sukriti, then we should cry, we should develop a desire to get sadhus association. And these Vaishnavas, the really advanced devotees, as we heard last week, those who are, Prabhupada said that we should not remain on the platform of Kanishta, but we should at least come to the platform of Madhyam, because the Madhyam are those who are preaching. And even those on the Uttamadhikari platform, they will come down on the Madhyam platform to preach. So that's where Atma Kalyana, or that welfare for the living entity takes place when one starts to preach. And what does it actually mean, that Atma Kalyana, or that kind of welfare? It means to help, to train the jivas to change the consciousness. That's what the sadhus try. They try to change one's consciousness and bring the people to Krishna consciousness. Because when a sadhu sees an ordinary jiva, he understands how much suffering is there, how much people actually suffer. That's why sadhus, they try to. And what do? Sadhus are trying to engage the jiva in Krishna's service. And if someone is becoming engaged in Krishna's service, then that's actually daya, that's real compassion. Because by doing service, the consciousness will be changed. And then by doing service, one gets a real pleasure. Yeah. What kind of pleasure one gets from seva? One develops desire to do more seva. That's the result from seva. If you engage in some service of Krishna, then as a result, you develop a desire to do more service to Krishna. Because there is a real happiness. And of course, we know that the body is the cause of suffering. And if we serve Satchidananda Maya Vigraha, if we search Krishna, who is a transcendental body, then we also will attain such a destination. And in this way, our suffering will also end. So the sadhus, they always try to do welfare of the jiva. And in the Bhagavatam, we find also a nice conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. There it says, O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc. So here also the word is used here, tapo dahana, and So what is the charity? By transcendental knowledge, one becomes immune from all material misery. So how can we tolerate the existing anxieties in the material world? That immunity is given by sadhus. Like to become immune to the pain or the suffering of the material world. That is what is actually the blessings of sadhus. I'm reading here from a lecture by Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu, and he told a story how he was serving very closely to Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj in Bhubaneswar as the temple president. There were so many problems, so many difficulties, and Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj would always tell him, "You have to tolerate. You have to tolerate." The Vaishnava is always tolerating. So one day he had enough. He was really so fried. So he went and he complained. "You always tell me I should tolerate, tolerate and cooperate. So how much more you want me to tolerate? It's too much." And then Gaura Govinda Maharaj said, "How much you were tolerating? Like Kunti, like the Pandavas?" And then he said, "I paid obeisances and I kind of crawled out of the room." So how much are we tolerating actually? And that ability to tolerate difficulties, that comes by the mercy of sadhu. And by transcendental knowledge. Through transcendental knowledge, through the mercy of sadhus, we become kind of immune towards the miseries of the material world. And that makes us more, more balanced, detached, and that's also the idea of Atmaram. You become satisfied in yourself. That means, whatever happens outside, whether good or bad, you're not so much influenced anymore because you're having this treasure inside, and you become tolerant. So this immunity to tolerate the anxieties of material existence, that is coming from sadhu. That is real compassion to the jiva. When one will be able to understand that these anxieties is just for the body and mind, not for the Atma, then one becomes undisturbed. So by the mercy of Guru, one gets that immunity. So, and the devotees, the Vaishnavas, they're always, they live only for the welfare and development of happiness of others. So they dedicate their life for others. And of course this material world, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, is not at all a fit place for a gentleman to live in. It's actually a very nasty place. And as a devotee, when we become a little bit more sober, we will realize that yes, this world actually is not such a nice place. And of course, in our minds there is always some hope. Yeah, let's enjoy, let's have some happiness, and we're making some plans how to be happy in this world. But if we very soberly look at this world, we can see it's a place of misery. Just this body gives so much trouble. There's so many ways we can suffer all the time. And then you see how people always fighting with each other. There's so much problems in the world. So it's really a very difficult place. So therefore we need the mercy of sadhus to become immune and to become more sober. And then sadhus, they are always giving mercy and association to others. So, of course, only those who have developed love for Krishna, they actually can also give that kind of compassion to others. So the love is pure and the attachment for samsara is completely zero. That type of person can show compassion to others. If one actually has love for Krishna, he is the one who actually can show compassion to others. There's another nice point here made that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, what is real daya, real compassion? Jai Jagannath, Baladev Subhadra, Shishibhavatai Ki Jai. So Bhaktisiddhanta says here to change the taste of a jiva is real compassion. To change the taste of a jiva is real compassion. The conditioned soul has taste for material enjoyment, and if a sadhu is able to change that taste, then that's true compassion. The jiva has having taste for different things, but how the taste will be changed, when the jiva will develop taste how to please Krishna, then that is jiva daya. When the living entities makes that change in consciousness. I'm reading from a lecture. This is just a statement of Bhaktisiddhanta. Yeah. But yeah, it's a nice meditation. People have so much interest and taste in so many other things, but if that taste can be changed, then that's actually compassion. So a Vaishnava is always trying to how to make a jiva free from Maya. That's basically a sadhu is like a doctor, a Vaidya sadhu, will teach us how to keep, how to turn away from Maya and to always do loving service to Krishna. And if one is engaged in such bhajans or service, then one finally takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. And to bring the lotus feet of Krishna, that is jiva daya. That's actually Krishna jiva daya. To give people shelter at Krishna's feet, then that's actually true compassion. And therefore we must go and associate with sadhu, get mercy from him, and then hopefully our taste will change. First of all, right? When we associate with such sadhus, with such Vaishnavas, hopefully our own taste will change, that we actually have a deep taste for Krishna consciousness. And then we ourselves can become instruments to help others to also take shelter with Krishna. So this is a bit what is mentioned here in this text, that I'll read again. Text 209, which was a quotation from text Bhagavatam 2:418, described all these Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulanas, all these different people, that even if they are addicted to sinful acts, they can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord, because they have this power, they are agents of the Lord, and that's the duty of the Vaishnavas. They are able to, in their association, everyone can turn and become a devotee also. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Yes.
I was hearing a lecture this week from His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami, and he was saying that there's a song of Bhakti Vinod where he describes the situation of the living entity when the living entity is like completely hopeless and doesn't have any shelter anymore. Then Krishna will arrange to have contact with devotees. So here my question is this happening in any case, or is there some more needed, like this Sukriti and all these things, or it's just when you're like completely hopeless in this world, then Krishna will arrange, or is there some details?
There's so many, it's an interesting question, but yeah, there's so many people who are hopeless and helpless. We are all hopeless and helpless. That's my question. Hare Krishna. Like, there's many people who are hopeless and helpless and crying and having very difficult times, but they don't all get samsara. So, I mean, what we read here is that if someone turns towards Krishna and asks for help, then the Lord will make arrangements and come and help. But if someone is not turning to Krishna, not asking for help, not taking shelter, and I mean, that is the Sukriti is one aspect. But if there is no Sukriti, then we have to ask for that.
Maybe they have still some hope in other shelters. Then they think I can have shelter in drugs or in this or in that, and
Yeah.
in
They will try to take shelter somewhere else.
I remember in my life when I had this accident during climbing, and then I was really like calling out. I said, I don't know which meditation I should do, which book I should read, so please guide me, whatever is there. And I think quite after this came the Association of Devotees.
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
I have two questions. And because in the beginning you were saying text 200, I think you then read 201, but I did read 200. And on this topic of Atma, because you said like there's so many meanings to the word.
Yeah.
And I always found that a bit confusing, because it's also said that Sanskrit is the only unambiguous language. Like every statement is actually one-pointed. Like you can make a statement that is undoubtedly what it is. So even a word, if it has many meanings like Atma, there must be a way to be sure which meaning it is when it's used. Otherwise, that would...
Like although there's different ways to use it, but the way it's put, one who has a proper understanding
should understand.
Should, yeah.
And
of course, therefore we need acharyas who write the tikas,
right.
so that we understand it, because
Yes.
on our own we may not be able to really understand. But then the acharyas, they write the tikas, and we get the proper understanding.
Yeah. And now the question came up because I read this verse. It says, another meaning of the word Atma is one's characteristic nature. Whoever enjoys this particular type of nature is called Atmaram. And it just had this thought that if it can mean body, mind, and self, I think are the three that you were saying, could it be a connection that Atma basically refers to my identification as well? That if from my perspective, I identify with the body and I connect my understanding to the word Atma, that it refers to the body? Or it's just a thought that came up.
I mean, yeah, if you take Atma as the self, and then you have a certain concept of what your self is,
Exactly.
then for you, Atma maybe has that meaning. Doesn't mean that this is reality.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, at least you may refer to it like that.
But is it then that like Atma could mean these different... Do you have any idea when? No. Okay. Okay, fair enough. And my other question was, you were talking about the different Sukritis, different types of Sukriti. And of course there was one Sukriti that we sometimes talk about, this Agyata Sukriti.
Yes.
And is that actually a thing?
I think.
Is it actually mentioned? Because I was missing it in the list, and I was wondering, like, because a thought also came up with Agyata Sukriti is that it's basically, its claim is that you can create Sukriti unknowingly, or in other words, against your will, which for me is also a little bit a contradiction, because it should be performed through free will in order to actually work, as far as I understand. So I was just wondering why is not mentioned Agyata Sukriti, and like maybe you know where this is coming from. This Agyata, sorry, very technical question.
Well, yeah, I mean the whole thing with Agyata Sukriti, there's something also, there's a controversial topic. There's different ideas or ways to look at this topic. I mean, when we speak of Bhakti and Mukhi Sukriti, then I guess it can be done consciously or unconsciously, in a sense. As I mentioned, some way or other you had been in touch with devotion, and in a positive way that created some kind of Sukriti for you, that in the future you will be able to associate with sadhu. That's one statement. Like, all of us somehow came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's mission, And the fact that we came in touch and we took it up and actually practicing Krishna consciousness means, according to this understanding, that somewhere in the past there was some connection with bhakti already, in some way. It can be very distant, it can be, but some contact was there. The famous story is the Prabhupada story with the stewardess, the flight attendant, who grabbed Prabhupada's Mahaprasad. You all know this story? Prabhupada was, I don't know, Kirti Prabhupada tells the story, someone tells the story that they were sitting in a flight, like Prabhupada and 2-3 devotees there. And Prabhupada had this, I think it was some puffed rice, muri or something, in a bag. And there was a flight attendant, walking by. I don't remember the exact detail, but somehow she grabbed into that bag and took some of the muri rice, which was touched by Prabhupada. I mean, nobody's doing that, especially not if you're working there. Like, how can you just grab food from some of your passengers? But somehow she did, And then years later, book distributed somewhere in South America, somewhere in the jungle, going from village to village, and they knocked and someone opened the door, and there was a devotee. And it turned out that it was that lady who later on became a devotee. She later received books and started to practice. So that's kind of, like, she didn't know that this is Mahaprasad, but she took it and got influenced by it. So yeah, I guess it can be done conscious or unconscious. There will be some effect. And in some way, like the Sankirtan mission, when we go out and chant the Holy Name and distribute books, basically what we do, we create opportunities for the conditioned souls to somehow or other get in touch with devotional service. In this way we create actually their Bhakti Mukha Sukriti. And some of them will like it. They're not in Bhagavatam says, even if people don't like it, if they say, oh, with this Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, even they're making jokes, still, like Nambas, the holy name still has an effect. Your point was that it must be voluntary. I mean, there is a free will, and how. That's an interesting thing, yeah, but I don't know, we could argue that the soul actually wants it. No, the soul wants Krishna. It's just a covering which is, and then the devotees are so merciful. They touch the souls, they touch somehow the soul. The desire comes up. Also, Prabhupada said to his disciple, "I have created your Sukriti." And that's the power of a sadhu. That he actually, just by his association, people are kind of uplifted. On their own, they may have gone in a completely different direction, but because of the sadhu sangha, they're kind of uplifted. And good fortune is created through the sadhu sangha. Some thoughts. Okay, then I'll end here. Thank you very much. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
fertig gegessen. Hallo. Mal schauen. Mal die